what are some of the basic questions an investor should ask when hiring a GC? What should they ask of that GC?
I'm 90%, if not more, of my business comes from referrals. And I would always ask for referrals. And not only their list of referrals, but also ask in the industry, because although it's big industry, it's a small industry, and you'll know somebody that's worked with them. Check and see how they handled things. Everybody makes mistakes. How do you handle mistakes means the world, right? And so I'm not perfect by any means, but when I make a mistake, you won't see me running for the hills. I'll dive in deep and fix it. So that's important to me. But the other thing is, if they have a business knowledge of multifamily, they're going to understand more and how to really help you be successful. Heritage knows speed is key to get you guys the units so that y'all can lease them out, right? Speed is a key. If they only can turn 5 units a month, or 10 units a month in some cases, when you have 30 to 60 to 80 that need to be done, how are they ever going to get you caught up? You're going to have to hire 3 contractors, and now you have to manage 3 different ones with 3 different levels of finishes because everybody's different. And so those types of things are huge. How much can they handle? How many units can they turn over a month? And what's their level of investment sophistication?
That's great. And the handling of mistakes, I think, is so important. I've worked with some contractors, and you say, hey, this wasn't done right, and they'll basically fight you left and right, and it's leaking right in front of you, or, oh, that's not what it was supposed to. When we worked on the project in Des Moines together and we walked it together, it's typical practice, went through and blue taped. You guys just said, yes, sir, and took care of it. Basically, immediately. You guys had such a great response to it because, this is it's difficult. You guys are remodeling 30 units in 30 days with, a specific scope. It was kind of that in the middle type scope. So there's certain things that are going to get done. There's certain things that we were going to leave. And you guys reacted to it incredibly well. I've walked with some other contractors, and they're basically trying to pull wool over your eyes and push you in another direction. So you're not going to see the poor quality work they've done. So no, I did appreciate that with you guys. That was very, very easy.
And it was 30 units in 34 days.
34 days. That's 30, right.
It was 34 days.
Yeah, that's really impressive. Really impressive. It's funny when you mentioned appliances and shutoff valves. I was not expecting that answer. You do have me rethinking some things, because maintenance calls not only creates frustration, it lowers your NOI, it increases your expenses. So I really appreciate you put that. I was thinking more along the lines of countertops, flooring, or cabinets. So I appreciate that. That's a very good insight there.
I would look at your maintenance log on each property and see what their greatest needs are and start there and go down. That's a task that I like to do.
Is that a service you offer to a prospective client, is to say, look, I'll take a look at that main slug and tell you where we can help you out with? I'm always
willing to help on that piece. But one of the things we do in our due diligence package is my guys that go out are pretty trained because they're walking with the maintenance guys all day long. One of the questions that they ask them, and we take that information back, is, I'm giving you $200,000. I'm giving you $500,000, depending on the project. Where are you spending it? And they look at you, and I'm like, what are your biggest needs? Where's your biggest problems? And they go, plumbing. And you're like, okay, well, where is your plumbing issues? And so you start talking, and you gain the intel from them while we're there in the field. And then obviously we regurgitate that to you guys. And it's just those little nuggets from the people that are there that are going to speak truth to people that they're not trying to be prim and proper to, and not say the wrong things. And we just kind of dive into that information. But they'll tell you if you ask them. You just got to know how to ask them and do it in the right way.
Yeah, that's really good advice. You always want to find, whether it's when we're doing our due diligence, you find that maintenance individual that knows the property well, but you can tell he's kind of biting his tongue about things because he's maybe been hamstrung by a management team / owner that hasn't want to spend the money. And then you start really asking them, get them in a casual situation and be like, what are some of the things you want to improve here? And 9 times out of 9 times, they will tell you the answer.
A casual situation may or may not involve a beer.
I want to ask, like, you've mentioned a few of them, but what are some of the biggest mistake investors usually make? And then this is a second question, but is it better to over improve or under improve?
Yeah, that's a great question. I've done both for clients. I've had, it's going to sound like I'm picking on women. I'm not. They have the design eye, and a lot of times your newer investors, husband and wife, get together, and the wife has great vision for design, but it may not translate to multifamily, right? And so they're like, I want this fixture, and this fixture, instead of a $30 fixture, is a $160 fixture, right? And it looks pretty and it's appealing, but it probably doesn't belong in a Class C. And so you have those types of mistakes. I don't disagree that the light needed to be changed. I just don't think it needed to be changed to that light, right? And so those are the over improvements that you'll never see a return on your investment for. But I've also worked with the client that has said, look, I only budgeted $5,000 for this unit, and I need to do whatever I can do for $5,000. And it really needed, $15,000. And I'm like, well, you can get flooring and painting, and that's it. And they're like, well, I need new appliances. Well, you can't get all 3. So what are you cutting out, right? And so those cases, it's an under improvement. And then they go, we'll just leave meat on the bone for the next one. Well, if you have refrigerators or stoves that keep breaking down and you've only done paint and flooring, you still have an issue there that's not going to go away, right? So how do you balance those two? And we try to hit right down the middle in a lot of our projects and kind of steer the conversation of, okay, well, you were going to do 80% of your units at 5,000. Why don't we cut that down and only do 60? And now you have 7,500, whatever the number is, 7,000 or 7,500 per unit to spend. And now you can get your appliances in there. And then your meat on the bone are your classic units you haven't touched yet. So that's the balance we try to go with. But most people that get to that point didn't consult with any construction company before they purchased the property or before they created their CapEx budget. And I think that's a huge problem that we've run into in the past.
Yeah, I think that's something to highlight. Talk to us a little bit about what you offer pre-purchase, because I think that's a huge benefit that you offer that any investor should take advantage of.
So what I say about our company is we take everything from due diligence all the way through CapEx execution. That's kind of our timeline, right? So when do we get involved? Well, hey, Dax, I'm going to submit an LOI next week on this property. I have a pretty good chance of getting it. I want you to engage me and go, hey, I'm probably going to use you for your due diligence service. Let's go ahead and quote that out. Let's get that written up, and we'll probably execute in 2 or 3 weeks. We pencil you in our schedule, and you're there, right? So we take it from that. So we do your due diligence. We create that package. That package is done in real time. So while we're there, all the pictures are being taken, all the data is being collected, everything that's broken needs to be replaced is all put together. And then we help you create your budget for your lender. So you had a general idea of what your budget was in your underwriting, $2 million or $1 million or whatever that number is. And then we help you identify where that budget gives you your best bang for your buck. And then we create a quote based on that for you to represent to your lender. Hey, I budgeted $1 million, $2 million, but here's where I'm spending that money and how I'm going to utilize that. I'm going to do 30 units on 2.2. I'm going to do 40 units on 1.1s, and I'm going to do appliances, flooring, paint, yada, yada, yada. And you go down the list and you hand that to the lender. You have a much better chance with that lender of going, man, he's got his junk together. He knows exactly what he's going to do with it. This is his approach. Instead of going, I have $2 million budgeted here and I'm going to spend it on interior upgrades and exterior. And they're like, well, what are you going to do for that? And then you have to go backpedal and figure out what you're going to do for it and then move budgets around. It makes it more difficult. So we just identify it up front and then you go into close. Lender gives you some percentage of what you asked for because typically they don't give you 100% of what you asked for. And so now you're, okay, well, I only got 90% of what we asked for. So now we have that budget. We redo your budget there. We submit it to the lender and we're off to the races. And then, like y'all have experienced, we do 30 typically per property if they're available, between 10 and 30, just depending on how many units are available per month. And we set out a schedule and we try to be done within 6 to 9 months on every property.
That's phenomenal. It's quick turnaround time too.
You mentioned guns and gangs, and we've talked about some stories. What's a good story or a fun story, crazy project that you have?
Well, if I tell you one, I got to tell you another. So I'm going to tell you two.
Perfect.
So there was one in Jackson, Mississippi that guys were working, and this guy just came around the corner, pulled a gun on one of my project managers. And my project managers carry most of the time. So he was carrying, but he's very trained. And he didn't pull. He just stood there and went, whoa, man, let's talk through this. What's going on? And he just questioned him for a minute, talked him down, and got out of that situation. Crazy piece about that is my business partner's son, who was 14 at the time, was there with him.
Ooh.
And he wanted to experience this. And so he was being careful because he had a 14-year-old kid behind him, trying to show him the construction ropes and protect him, right? That was his motive, to protect him. So he did and got out of it and everything was fine. In Des Moines, not y'all's property, but another property we were working on in Des Moines, this guy that had been causing trouble on the property, been trying to get rid of, they couldn't get rid of, went to one of my guys while he was painting by this guy's window. And he came down, he was painting the second story, and he kicked his ladder out from underneath him. The guy came to the ground, he pulled a gun, held it to his head and said, you need to get away from my unit. It's that type of stuff that you deal with.
Gosh,
and it's because they think you're invading their space. They want you in there. You want something from them. You're going to tell on them, all this stuff that it becomes a major issue.
Holy cow. Was he okay?
So fortunately, no, but yeah, he was okay. Scared to death, but
yeah,
didn't want to call the cops, didn't want to cause a scene. So he just let it die and go from there.
Did he finish the painting job?
He did. He did finish it, but we did have someone there to protect it.
Gotcha. Oh man, I'm glad he's
fun.
Is the 14-year-old, is he in the business now? Do we know?
No.
He's a police officer.
No, yeah, I know he is not. Yeah, he's like, no, I need to go get my degree and do something different. So.
Well, that's good that at least he went and checked it out, So he didn't commit his life and then found himself there. So that's good. That's why an internship's good. All right, Dax. Well, we are getting to our final section of the show, the final three with CNC. These are the final three questions with Chris and Colin.
Oh, nice.
Yes, Chris.
Rapid fire. Okay. What's a book you suggest to the audience if they want to get started in entrepreneurship?
I'll tell you, it's as weird as it is. Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins probably was one of the most impactful books that I've read. Not that I'm a quitter. My mama didn't raise a quitter, neither did my dad. But sitting there and listening to that, and when you want to quit, when you want to crawl up in a ball and give up, I think about that book often. And just think, man, it was powerful words. So
yeah, it's a great book.
Yeah, I actually listen to either it's like a compilation of, just like motivational, get your crap together, move faster. And David Goggins is typically on there yelling at me. It's usually like first thing in the morning or something like that when I've got a lot of negative self-talk, or I don't want to get in the cold plunge. I don't want to do this, or I don't want to do that. Within about 10 minutes, I'm like, man, I'm sick of this guy screaming at me. I'm going to go do what I need to do. It's effective. It really is. Somebody that wants to start a construction company, what's a piece of advice for them that you wish you would have had?
Oh man, that's a good question.
Better than mine?
Yes.
The easiest question ever.
Really good. Yeah, easiest question ever. This one's a tough one because I would say this: you never know it all, and never stop learning, because the moment you do is the moment you'll die. And I think a lot of people become too arrogant, especially in the construction industry. They think that, I've done this 1,000 times. My way's the best, and I've made all the other mistakes. But if you don't listen to other people and willing to learn always, you're going to miss out on growing. And so that's something I pride myself on. I'm always a student, always trying to learn a different way to do it. And then once I've listened, I share my experiences, and maybe the two kind of combine and create where this client's trying to head. God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason, and we need to listen first.
Love
Wisdom. What's a daily habit that you try to instill each day that kind of gets you going? Colin just mentioned cold plunging or listening to David Goggins yell at him. What's something you do daily to keep you going?
Pray. I pray daily.
Okay.
Pray for my business. I pray for people. I pray for the industry. I would say that's more of a new thing for me. Never have been a big prayer, been a Christian for a long time, but my faith is having to grow stronger and stronger. And that's kind of my new daily routine.
It's awesome. Good for you, man.
Practices of gratitude. It's important. What your mind says inside your mind is what becomes reality.
Yeah. Exactly.
Dax, man, thanks for coming on. I wish we'd go a little bit longer here. Sorry for the late start. This has been great. I think we should certainly have you on again. And obviously I want to talk to you about some stuff we have stirring up in our business as well. So it's been awesome to have you on here. I want everyone to get a chance to get a hold of you as well. So what are some ways they can find you on social media? And
your podcast, because you have a podcast, correct?
Yep. Actually, I have cycled out of that podcast. That was Thrive Multifamily. We did that for a while. And I'm creating a new one right now.
Awesome.
Can't launch it yet. Can't tell you what it is, but it's coming soon.
Awesome.
And we'll have more. But the way to get in touch with me, I always give out my cell number. Always reach me there. It's 469-261-1190. My email address is dax@heritageccs.com. You can find me on Facebook. I'm everywhere. I guess X and TikTok. I'm everywhere now. So you come find me there. Shoot me an email. Give me a text. Let me know what you're looking at, how I can help you. I'm always willing to take a phone call to help somebody new in the industry when they just have questions. So feel free to call me.
Dax, you're the man. Truly appreciate it, brother.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on, man.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Yep, absolutely.